that the idea there is that what they used to claim that the private sector is crowded out, that now the banking system will have all the liquidity necessary to be able to give loans to the private sector for private sector development. And my calculation, and I will not go into it and doing the quotation because I know that my time is so much taken, the minister is saying that at least 2 billion, if I subtract last year and this year, the anticipated 2019, at least 2 billion in 2018 has been put into the private sector as investment. That's $2 billion. If we look at really what that can do and which sectors had been developed, which is the key thing, because the objective of private sector development is to be able to generate employment and expand the GDP of the country. But essentially, we do not have real tracing of where that money went, how much employment it has generated. If you look at Section 44 of the Labor Act, it is saying that the Labor Department should establish a unit to be able to register all those people who are seeking jobs, so that you can twin them with those who want to provide jobs. So that should be established, so that those private sector operators who are actually creating those jobs will tell the Labor Department. It will be registered. The minister will come and tell us, yes, this year, then this number of private operators had registered there. They have generated this type of employment. That is really what will not lead us just to a mystified situation of just simply having statistics where you cannot see concretely the manifestation of the statistics. So I would again propose, Honorable Speaker, that be implemented. Section 44 of the Labor Act be implemented, so that we stop blaming the youths that they are not trained. People from outside, if there is a ceremony, all of them will go to their country and there will be no fish. Is it that because, and I will come closer to my conclusion, we talk about the Songhai project. I went to Benin. I saw the person who established that project. For 40 years, he's been in Benin. Everything well established. Agriculture, horticulture, fisheries, all combined, electricity generation, processing. But for 40 years he's there, and the Beninois youths were saying, we do not have employment. How has that project been replicated to be a national entity that will free the young people from poverty? Yes, the innovator is there, but the governments that should take that innovation to translate it into national policy is not there. So we must move away from just experiments. We must see how those experiments fit into policy. And Honorable Speaker, everywhere on the African continent, they are telling the youth, train, skill training. And they give them the impression that through those skill training, they are going to be self-employed. Everywhere, government cannot do everything. People must be self-employed. They are deceiving the young people, because we know in economics that a person can never be self-employed unless he owns the means of production. How can you be self-employed without owning the means of production? You train them and you don't give them the means of production. How will they be employed? How will they be self-employed? They do not have land. They do not have machine. They do not have all the other wherewithals. How will they be self-employed? So, Honorable Speaker, we must begin to be realistic. We must see that an economy where 23% in agriculture, aiming to produce from 69,000 tons of rice to 122,000 tons by the end of the planned period, national development period. It has been declared before that by 2015, by 2016, we'll be self-sufficient in rice production. We were importing 200,000 tons of rice and only could produce 57,000 by 2015. That was the promise. The promise failed. What is the new promise? And how will it be implemented? Concretely, who will be the producers? What do we put at their disposal to be able to produce? I would have thought that even in this budget speech, we will know the state of groundnut production, the marketing, the reality. We only know that the world market price is increasing. But what is the concrete reality? We need to know. And we must also bear in mind that talking about giving few people the land so that they can engage in highly mechanized agriculture is not going to eradicate poverty. You must transform our family farms into cooperatives, give them all the wherewithal they need, and they will increase production and the wealth will go back to them. Many investors are ready to take over our land and give it to a few in the name of mechanized or commercial agriculture. Where will our people get the employment? You turn them into just merely indentured servants, earning pittance. Is that why we talk about liberation and changing a country and independence and development? Let's argue on policy. We can have a national development plan, but let's argue on policy. What should we do to eradicate the poverty of our people? That is very important, Honorable Speaker. And I must conclude now. And adjournment debate, I'll be able to touch into other things and probably write about other things so that we can all learn from each other. There are so many things to be said. But Honorable Speaker, we are claiming that the budget is not pro-poor. But is this National Assembly pro-poor? We all knew when we came here that $15,000 a month with a new transport given or new or whatever transport given to people, and when they had this transport, what will fuel the transport? If you spend $500 a day, your $15,000 salary has gone. And the National Assembly members knew the pinch. That's why they insisted that it is important to increase the house to office so that they'll be able to fuel transport. Let's be real. All other ones came. We continue to say that the vast majority of people are not earning. We need to increase salaries. When a budget comes before us and we see the pittance, and they talk about increasing the salaries across the board by 50%, what should have been our role is to refuse our salaries to be increased and indicate that that should be added. Let us at least freeze our income as to what it is, and we manage with that. Whatever comes again, let us go to the people that we represent. That is how we should have shown that this National Assembly is pro-poor. One has no moral authority to criticize anybody unless you look at yourself and then do the very opposite that that person is doing. We know in our language, if you fail to do that, what it means. So my conclusion, Honorable Speaker, is that this National Assembly now has, someone has said this is the litmus test. If we accept this increase, the suffering will increase. And they will start quoting what you are receiving. For me, this is my last sojourn in this National Assembly. I will never be a National Assembly member again after this term. I'm not interested in being a national. I just want to at least leave a legacy of how a National Assembly should function. But some of you want to be here again. I'm emphasizing that the way we are going to show that this National Assembly is pro-poor is to understand, yes, you have to live to serve because you are representing them. But let us understand a limit. Let's put a limit. And then move from there to help others to also advance. Thank you very much.